All right, welcome everybody back to Harper Discussions. We are outside the auto bar once again. This time we are with, how do you say it properly?
Simulakra.
Simulakra.
Yeah.
Now, how many people mess that up?
Too many, considering it's spelled phonetically, especially with the K. It's like, they taught you in elementary school to sound that shit out if you don't know how to say it. You would think that people would take that into their adult life, but I guess not. But yeah, simulacra. It's like simulation.
Okay.
Take out the A, put an I on it, add a cr at the end. That's how you do it.
What is some of the worst pronunciations you've probably heard?
I've heard people have spelled it wrong and said it wrong. They've done Simulakra. They mix up the K and the R and shit. Simulakra, which I guess isn't Simulacra. I guess that's not as bad. Consider, yeah, Simulakra. I don't know where people be getting the extra A from. Yeah, Simulakra, we've had a lot of, it's just read it. It's not that it's really not that hard to figure out. I've heard a lot of nonsense, but it's okay though. People will get it eventually. They just need a couple times, so it's fine.
Yeah. So talk about where the name comes from and the origins and whatnot.
Our drummer over here, he's the one that kind of came up with the name. I'll kind of pass it off.
Yeah.
I just got it from the Matrix.
Okay.
There's a book. It's like a split second in the Matrix. There's a book that says simulation and simulacra, but it's spelled with the C.
Okay.
I wanted to add the K just so it's easier to Google.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of old school to just add a K where a C is supposed to be. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Gotcha. And y'all are from Delaware, correct?
So 3 of us are from Delaware.
Okay.
Breza's from Jersey, and Dom, our vocalist, is from Maryland.
Okay.
Frederick, stand up.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess just talk about like the different parts that you're from, and then you can talk about the part of Delaware that y'all are from as a band.
I'm from Newark, which is like the college town area. Been living there since I was like 17. Basically, I live not too far, like around the corner, or I used to live around the corner from Mully, who, sang in Scarab, plays drums and gridiron and shit. Like, that's, live right by him. Norris and Jack both live in Wilmington, which is like the city part, sort of. It's like pretty close to the PA border. And yeah, I mean, we kind of don't claim, we just kind of, Delaware's so small and like insular that we don't really claim a specific city.
Okay.
We're all fucking Delaware, essentially. Unless, you get past, get like lower in the state. Whatever's going on down there, we don't know what the fuck's going on down there. But
so is it mostly the same in every part of Delaware?
Kinda. Like all like us, like the scene part, I guess, is like, at least nowadays, it's mostly like the northern part. Which is like, it makes sense, like very close to Philly and shit like that. Like, the Philly scene and the Delaware scene have basically like assimilated into one another. We're kind of one and the same at this point. So we're all, it's like mostly the northern area. If there is shit down south, lower in the state, I'm not aware of it, so yeah, we're kind of,
So just tell me a little bit more about like what's going on in the Delaware hardcore scene. What kind of bands are popping off right now? Venues,
I mean,
that sort of thing.
We're kind of like I said, since we're such an insular small group, we're all, all of us are a part of the bands that are fucking, popping off. There's like us, these two playing a band called Foreign Hands, doing like Sharp Tone and shit. They're doing a whole bunch of shit. They got a record coming. Mully, again, me and him are both in Gridiron, which is like part PA and shit. Mully obviously sings in Scarab. With him, he's Delaware by proxy, basically. And there's also like the younger kids, like Killing Me and shit like that. They have like their own bands and shit. And we're all, like I said, we're such like and like there's like Year the Knife and shit. We're all like, like there's that. So like I said, we're all, it's like 20 of us, and we're all in bands with each other. And
so
shit.
it's a lot going on.
Essentially, yeah. And like I said, it's like all like melded with the Philly scene and shit too. So it's like,
Gotcha. Okay. Now, Brandon.
Wait,
So I understand you saw TY at 13, right?
I
Something
did.
like that?
I did. I saw TUI for the first time a month ago.
Dom saw TUI when
Yeah, I was gonna say
Okay.
he probably did. Yeah.
Yeah, I just got the name.
He's
wrong.
been fucking going to shows for fucking ever at this point. You know, Philly shows, Baltimore shows. He's been around
Not currently here,
the
right?
block for a minute. He's somewhere.
Okay, I got you.
He's somewhere.
So I just had that because since we're in Baltimore and
Yeah.
whatnot, I remember like an interview and whatnot. I had heard him talking about, going to the Baltimore art space. That's where stuff starting to band here in Baltimore. So I had a whole note about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's like I said, since he's from Frederick, that's like it's closer to Delaware, or no, he's closer to Baltimore than he is Delaware. So that's kind of like his old band would play at like Charm City and shit a bunch,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
he knows a lot of the folks here.
I gotcha.
So, yeah.
So I was reading up on the band, and Griselda is kind of a favorite amongst the band, right? As far as outside of hardcore and shit like that.
For sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that
You
is
a
like
whole lot of
such a
shit.
common thing that I hear with a
Yeah.
lot of bands and stuff like that. Who's your favorite like member of Griselda and like some of your favorite projects and stuff like that?
I don't really have a favorite. I mean, like, I've been listening to Pyrex Picasso a lot lately. The Benny
Okay.
project that came out in like 2021. I don't know if you guys have.
I really fuck with Conway. He's like my favorite
Okay.
of the group. But I think my favorite project overall is probably still West Side Gun, Pray for Paris.
Real.
That's like my
Yeah.
favorite one. But I think Conway and Benny the Butcher are both like the most consistently like. Well, I don't know. West Side Gun's always putting out shit too. But I feel like Conway and Benny are the ones I listen to the most. But if I'm Pray for Paris is just like a go-to for me.
Yeah, I think like Benny and Conway they hit a little harder, but
Yeah.
like West Side Gun is where like that soul comes in and
Yeah.
with all the beats and whatnot.
Absolutely.
And what other music and stuff outside of hardcore do y'all get into?
I mean, we all kind of listen to everything.
Okay.
I know that's like a generic answer,
yeah.
but I don't know. Like, Breza and I play in like an alt rock band, so we're both real into like 90s alternative and shoegaze. I'm really into like emo and stuff like that. I don't know. We just kind of pull and like listen to all kinds of stuff. I feel like as I've gotten older, I've cared less about like what genres I'm listening to, and I'm more just into like, oh, if I like something, I'm gonna listen to it. So yeah, I kind of just have. I try to keep an open mind with that stuff. But I think outside of hardcore, I would say some favorite bands of mine are Sunny Day Real Estate. Now I'm drawing a blank. Deftones, absolutely. I love Slowdive. I love Oasis. Thursday, Glassjaw, all that stuff is big for me. Yeah, just all that kind of like 90s, early 2000s alt rock shit is what I'm into the most.
Gotcha.
all love death metal too.
Yeah, we're all huge death metal guys. Like
Okay.
90s death metal, New York death metal, a lot of like the brutal death metal. I'm really big into like English drum and bass and like trip hop and stuff like that. Like
Okay.
Norris and I think everybody in the band loves Portishead. That's like another thing that we're really into.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, Deftones, I think everybody in the band that's like a unanimous band for us. It's my favorite band, Oasis, that type of stuff.
Cool. Alrighty. So now I wanted to get into the latest release. I'm assuming Brandon writes the lyrics for that.
You mean Dom?
Dom, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting fucking shit all wrong. Yeah, my fault.
Yeah, Dom writes all the lyrics.
Okay, so what I normally do on my show is I go through the lyrics and stuff like that. Since he's not here, y'all can just kind of give your take on them, I guess.
I mean, X, you helped with some of them, right?
Okay.
So you might be able to like, I don't know, you might be able to answer better than I can.
I was about to say, yeah, I did help write one of the songs, and I didn't really help him with like most of the lyrics. He did that shit himself, but I was like there in the process of like him
Okay.
recording that shit and stuff like that. And a lot of that stuff just deals with like I said, he could tell it better than I could, but like a lot of that deals with like, he has like, like Lyme's disease and stuff. That shit has like really fucked with like his brain and stuff like that. So a lot of that stuff is like,
yeah, I was hearing about that in the interview and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is that something that was somewhat recent, or?
I'm not sure how recent. It's definitely like, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's-
Within the last like several years, has it reached a point where he's like, he's gone to like doctors and shit like that to sort of look into, like traveled to like people to look into that shit and like, figuring out, doing vocals with that shit and like trying to figure all that stuff out. Yeah, like, just
Okay.
like, yeah, like I said, he could tell it better than I could, but it's just like, it's crazy, people like, when the album came out, he like posted about all that shit and people were like, oh, I had like no idea that was even the case, because, it keeps that shit pretty tight-lipped for the most part, I feel
Right.
like. So it's like, yeah, a lot of a lot of the lyrics are just kind of about like that shit and just like the band itself and
Yeah.
shit like that.
We'll
Yeah.
see what we can maybe tap into outside of that, see
Yeah.
what we can relate to it. For Eliminate, I had "We will spread our lies, gathering the weak like swine, crying for releases, begging, pleading on their knees." The way I took that was like industries profiting off of pain.
I feel like there is definitely like a thread kind of woven into the lyrics about that kind of shit. Like I said, I have a very bare bones understanding of that because I
Yeah.
didn't write the lyrics, but like there's definitely like little pieces of that sewn in there. So like I said, with his the shit that he's dealt with, like sort of like medication and all that kind of shit. There's like a
Yeah.
little bit of that in there.
It's a lot of like us and them.
Yeah, there's like a lot of that shit for sure, especially with like Eliminate and like Fury.
Yeah, Fury
Yeah.
seemed like just one of those like hardcore songs, just
Yeah.
kind of angry songs.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, terror tactics, systematic hate machines, tear open 10-inch holes in spleens. Entire families, what we shred, we pick at human heads stuck to our tread. Does that also fall in line with like kind of the medical side, or is that
I
kind
feel
of
like that's
anti-government?
I feel like that's probably sort of. It's really like I was gonna say it's like hearing them like read out. I haven't like read them in like so long. Something, yeah. Like I feel like there's something like
He's a very visual lyricist.
Yeah.
I think. Like,
Yeah.
sees something in his head and he just puts it to paper. and
yeah,
just-
in a very like descriptive, like graphic way, which I
Yeah.
fucking love that shit. So
Yeah.
it's like
I think
yeah,
I remember he said the song made him think about like warlords just going into a village and just like laying waste to it. Like,
Yeah.
That's what the instrumental of the song made him think of.
yeah. So it was something like that. He really just like puts two and two together like that. He has like a way with putting shit together. He's
Yeah.
got
Sometimes it's metaphorical, and then sometimes it's like you
Very
said,
literal.
it's just
Yeah.
or it's literal, you know.
like it's a little bit of both.
Heretic, a vile heretic, here to cleanse the sick. Fall onto your knees, come yourself to me. Yeah, a lot of that kind of. I mean, I
Yeah.
instantly thought of because I think there was a line of like burning at the stake or something
Yeah.
like that, and it reminded me of like I guess the Salem witch shit.
Yeah.
So
There's definitely like there's a metaphor in there somewhere. It's been so long since we were in the process of writing that I don't remember exactly where a lot of that shit. But there's like a metaphorical side to that more so than anything.
Also really into movies.
Yeah.
okay.
I feel like he just does like he sort of tells like stories. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah,
no
he
worries.
sort of tells like stories, I guess, through his lyrics. Like he's got the more personal stuff, but like I said, he and Breza like nerd out over movies all the time. So I
What kind
feel
of
like
movies? And y'all can talk about like what kind of movies y'all like to get into.
I'll
and
pass
whatnot.
that off to Breza because I'm not really a movie guy.
I can't really speak to where Dom falls as far as movies and stuff. I know he likes stuff like Blue Velvet by David Lynch. He
Okay.
and I have gone pretty in depth on tours just talking about that. He's really into like body horror shit. He's really into body horror. We, as a band, we have, I think I speak for everybody, we have a huge appreciation for H.R. Geiger, the artist who did
Okay.
like Alien and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
That's a huge inspiration for us visually. Like a lot of our merch and stuff has that like,
Nice.
I wouldn't even say undertone. It's pretty obvious. But just like body horror, biomech, like that type of stuff.
Describe body horror for people who like don't know what that term is.
It's stuff like, if you're familiar with David Cronenberg, The Fly, Scanners,
okay.
Videodrome, Tetsuo the Iron Man, stuff where it's just like, the manipulation of the human body.
Okay.
Just like
mecha kind of shit.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Okay,
Like
gotcha.
biomech, that type of stuff.
Cool.
We're really into like, I think we're all really into horror movies and like foreign films and like just weird experimental films and stuff like that.
Cool.
Met him.
And I was gonna say like,
Yeah.
you know, as far as like I said, like, you know, kind of going into the whole biomech shit, like very into like science fiction horror and shit like that. Like a lot of the samples, and you know, we did a shirt that was basically just like a xenomorph from Alien that was on the front, but also just a lot of that kind of, yeah, like he said, like H.R. Geiger inspired shit. Like, you know, Alien and Aliens are like two of my favorite horror movies, and like I said, a lot of the samples and like audio shit that kind of goes on like outside of the music is very much inspired by like the really dark, like cold atmospheric part, like side of that shit. And like, you know, like it's really funny, like before we started this fucking run, Jay, who sings in Mind Force, said that he sent me a text that was like, what did he say? He was like, it's fucking Blade Runner core. He said like, fucking, hold on, let me pull it up. He said like Blade Runner core. He said like the shit that Pinhead from Hellraiser would listen to on his Walkman. Fucking, he said something else. I'm about to pull it up in a sec because it was such a good description of like the shit that we fucking. Yeah, he's right. Yeah, he said like, yeah, futuristic dystopian nightmare core.
Okay.
But it's all like, it all goes back to that sort of like horror element of all that, like sort of just very like dark and sort of cold and atmospheric kind of shit. Like that's a big thing with like all that shit. That's a big inspiration for all that.
I got you.
For sure.
As It Rots, I'm assuming that was more or less about him being in the hospital and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's like that. Yeah, basically kind of mixed in with like the body horror aspect of it, like that and like Follow the Flies for sure. Even like,
yeah, that one was crazy.
yeah, you know, Fading Away too. Like all those songs kind of they all tie into the same. Yeah, like the same themes of, yeah, again, like the hospital medical shit, but then it also has like that element to it of like, you know, it's like you're watching like The Fly or some shit like that. Or,
Yeah, so
you know,
obviously
that kind of shit.
with him and his illness and whatnot, he's
Like
gonna
The Thing.
have like a whole other opinion and thought process when it comes
Yeah.
to like the medical industry. But what do y'all
Yeah.
have thoughts, you know, when it comes to your personal experiences and stuff?
I mean, like that. I have a kind of caught me on the spot a little bit.
As far as like seeing how he handles it, you mean?
Well, no, because, you know, one of the lyrics, like in Fading Away, broken from pills they want me to take because I'll never be what they want me to be. I am dead but dreaming inside. Now it's these pills keeping my body alive.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, he's talking about his condition, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of talk about like kids who get prescribed pills
Yeah.
and shit like that. So I just meant more
Yeah.
or less in a general sense.
I mean, there's definitely something to be said about, I guess, like it's a very nuanced conversation to have, but I guess just sort of the idea of like the willingness to give out prescription meds for stuff. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like everybody's seen Requiem for a Dream at least once. I feel like that. Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah. That's a really good way of putting it. Like that whole thing, even dealing with just like, yeah, it's like there's like a lot to that. Like I said, it's a very nuanced conversation. There's a lot of shit to that. It's hard to put into like very simple words, I feel like.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Kinda add on to
Yeah,
you know, I feel like more and more commonly, like with our age group, you see a lot of people hooked on pills and stuff like that, even just outside of being prescribed shit.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like I've had my own struggles with dealing with pills and being prescribed stuff that I didn't really need, but like,
Do you think
you
it's
know,
that thing of like, you know, it comes from a doctor, so you think
Yeah.
it's safe, that kind of thing?
yeah, exactly. So I think that can kind of, you know, I would say that even though he's talking about his specific disease, I feel like so many people I know have had similar experiences.
Yeah,
Whether it's
absolutely.
something they were prescribed or something they were taking recreationally, like it's just such a big epidemic right now that
Exactly.
I think that's probably one of the songs that I personally can relate the most to, just because I've dealt with similar shit. So yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just about all that stuff.
Nice. Now for Fading Away, I saw that y'all, that song got featured in Revolver magazine, right? So how did it
Yeah.
feel to get that?
I'll go. It was cool, man. Lumpy, who runs Days, he put out the record. He helped us out a lot. We didn't even really like request it or anything. He was just like, "Yo, the video is gonna come out through Revolver," and we were like, "Okay." So it was cool. I mean, I'm not like a big music magazine guy, but obviously, like, I've known what Revolver is for
Yeah,
half of my life.
definitely.
So to be like, oh shit, my band's on the Revolver website was pretty dope.
It's a
for
milestone for sure.
Yeah.
I meant to talk about Days record label earlier because that's who y'all put out the recent LP through. So just talk about kind of how you ended up getting signed with them and whatnot,
Yeah.
and just what they're all about.
So we've all known Lumpy for a while, just
Okay.
through like playing shows together. He's been in a million bands. He pretty much approached us and was just like, yo, whenever you guys want to put something out, like, let me know. And Tyler and I had already worked with him in our other band, Foreign Hands. And we were doing like the rollouts for both of the releases around the same time. So he is just like great. He's the man. Like, he handles everything. He's, very, it's not like a traditional like label, and he just kind of is like, yo, like, I'll give you money to record, like, I'll put your
DIY
shit
kinda
out,
label.
and just lets us do our own thing. But he's the man. I feel like Days is probably one of the bigger up and coming hardcore labels at the moment. He's awesome.
He's very invested in the process of pretty much like everything he puts out. He's very hands-on. He's like, yo, we should do this. This would be cool. Gave him the track list. We sent him the stuff through like Dropbox. He was like, yo, you should put this single out first. This will be good. And then we'll do this one a couple weeks later. Shout out to Lumpy.
Yeah, shout out to Lumpy. Shout out to Days.
Is that like a consistent problem? Is people who aren't hands-on in the industry?
I don't know if I would say it's like a consistent problem. I feel like he's a very personable guy.
Okay.
And, if he's gonna put something out, it's like something that he's stoked on. So if he's stoked on it, then that's gonna make it even better for the bands that work with him, because it's like, we're all excited. He's excited. So like I said, both times I've worked with him for a release, it's just been awesome. Like Breza said, it's like he's like, let's do this, this, and this on this date. I'll have it premiere through this website, and he just handles everything. He's the man.
Gotcha. For Neurosis, I was just kind of curious, like, do y'all know where that name came from? When I looked up the word neurosis, I got like some connection to Freud, Sigmund Freud and whatnot, the whole Freudian beliefs.
Yo, I ain't gonna hold you, bro. I fucking made that interlude because the record was 9 songs. We made it 10 songs. I picked that word because I felt like it fit with the theme
Okay.
of the record overall.
It does, yeah, definitely.
I thought it sounded cool.
Okay.
It really doesn't get any deeper than that. I'm gonna keep it.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna keep it a whole buck with you. But like that kind of goes back to, like I was saying, like all of the samples and all that shit, very much inspired by like I said, like, Alien, but also like didn't cover this when we were talking about movies earlier. But like I said, like science fiction shit. Like one of the samples is from like The Matrix and shit like that. Like very like all that kind of shit. Just like very it's basically kind of the whole.
What do y'all think of the term the Matrix getting thrown around a lot lately with like the whole red pill thing?
Man, yo, listen. They need to go outside and touch. You see that? You see touch grass. Literally, it's not that serious. It was a like them niggas made a good movie in '99. and a couple good sequels. It doesn't get any deeper than that. Come on. What are we doing?
I gotcha. We did talk about Fury. There's nothing really more to Fury than just kind of being like one of those angry songs.
Yeah, like that was like one of the earliest tracks that we wrote for the record. That was written like right before the. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, that was like the first one. That was like right before the pandemic hit. Like it was like late. That song is like old. Like that shit was like late 2019 was when I like first drafted it and shit. Okay. And yeah, I was gonna say we got the One Scene Unity comp, which was put out by our boy Carter, who runs From Within Records. He asked us to be on that shit. And like I said, it was the middle of the pandemic, so it's not like we could get together and like write a new song. So we put it on that. And then we put it on the record because it's like, sometimes, you put a song on a comp and it just kind of gets lost in the shuffle and shit. Yeah. So we were like, let's fucking put that. That's like our people fucking, that's like the song for us, for a lot of people. So we were like, we're gonna put it on the fucking record. It's fucking, that's one of my favorite songs to play and shit. So, yeah. Yeah, that's literally that was literally the whole vibe. Hatebreed, Under the Knife, but mixed in with like, I think like not the ending riff, but like the fucking slow riff I got from like a Suffocation song. It was like kind of that, that was kind of the first thread that was sown of like us adding more death metal influence into the shit. That was like kind of the first step into that sort of.
I gotcha.
So yeah.
Cool. Mankind is a disease. Mankind's a disease bound and gagged down to its knees, gasping for air, searching for peace. Maybe in death we'll finally see that.
Yeah.
Last line is kind of what I wanted to talk about because when it comes to a lot of problems that I guess the world has, it will be too late before people realize it.
Yeah.
So.
I was going to say that. I can speak about that because that's the one song that I basically like wrote, essentially. He gave me like a very... Sorry. He gave me like a basic outline of like a few lines and shit, and then I put together the rest basically.
Okay.
And kind of like, so I can speak to that. But yeah, that was kind of a really big theme of just like I said, the rest of the record deals with like all that kind of shit and just sort of like humanity's like fucking. He had the title Mankind is a Disease for like a while. Okay. Like he had that in the tuck and he wanted to use that. So I basically took that idea, like that title, and just kind of built shit off of that.
Okay.
And yeah, it's kind of, what you kind of put it best, like sort of. Yeah, I was gonna say that was almost the name of. Yeah, I don't remember where the name. I don't remember where the infection spread. Like it's been so long, I don't remember where that came from. Yeah,
pretty much.
It was, but like
that's what I heard in Scoped Exposure, I believe. Was the interview.
That sounds
Shout
right.
Shout out to them.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the name of the promo the LP promo that we put out before FYA 2022, and the title of that song. That's again, we have like the Matrix sample at the end and shit, just talking about humans being
What's
just
the
like.
Specific sample?
It's the fucking shit where Agent Smith is talking to Morpheus, and he's like, human beings are a disease, they're a plague, and like we are the cure. And it kind of like touches on that whole idea of just like humans being not I don't want to say inherently because that's not right, but just like selfish, like greedy, like
kind of
self-interested, like
it's that survival of the fittest kind of.
I mean, like, I'm saying it's like I don't want to say inherently greedy, but you get what I'm saying though. That I mean, like people are just like that. You know what I'm saying? So kind of playing on that whole thing.
I think there is a part of us that is inherently selfish, but it's like
that's just human nature, low key.
Exactly.
But it's like the whole where it gets to the point where it's like, I mean, we see how even just like very like rugged, unwavering individualism to the point where it's like detrimental to people. That's like a big theme of that. I think that's like a really, what I'm saying, there's like that whole shit. So
I gotcha. Who's to blame? I picked don't want love, we want guarantees. Pockets fat, we will kill as we please. Is this about capitalism, especially with like the pockets fat?
I would assume so.
Okay.
That's the first song we ever wrote.
I was like, that shit is so old at this point.
From Dom, he said jokingly one time when he was telling us what the demo, he was on the demo. It was the first song we wrote. It's the first song on the demo. He was breaking down what the 3 songs were about. And then when he got to that song, he just said, "It's about the man."
Okay.
So it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. I got you.
So yeah.
Follow the Flies, we sort of talked about that, but I was curious, like with the lyrics and stuff like that, do
Yeah.
you know if it's like about being in the first person of like a dead body?
Kinda. There's definitely parts of that. Like I said, like it kind of touches back again about the whole, his condition and shit like that, and like Mully, he played really deep into that with his part, where he's talking about like maggots crawling my head,
Right,
shit,
yeah.
all that. Like I said, like very touching again on the whole body horror aspect of that whole thing, and being very like graphically descriptive of that shit. Like it's like basically that dialed up to like 11, essentially, kind of feeding more into the themes of the song, but kind of just like really taking it like a step further.
Okay.
Into, that kind of
We're
territory.
wrapping up here pretty shortly.
Right.
I saw like some of the earlier Instagram posts was Delaware Hardcore Technologies.
Yeah.
I was curious if you have any like further plans and stuff like that, as far as like doing more, I guess, skits, whatever you want to call it, infomercial.
Potentially. That was an idea that Dom had, like, he had, like, the Delaware DEHC Technologies idea. Like, he has so much shit like that just in the back of his head, and then we just kind of, like, take that and roll with it. Like, the video, I made the actual shit, like, had the whole, talking about, mankind is a disease and all that shit, sort of playing on that whole theme of, like, world catastrophe shit and, like, all that kind of stuff, and kind of feeding. I feel like for when we eventually get to the next record, that definitely could be something that we play on even more.
Okay.
Probably a little early, I guess, to think about it, but first, I think we'll probably touch on that at some point again.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to on this Northeast run?
Just fucking chilling with the boys, bro. That's what hardcore's all about. Fucking chilling with your fucking boys. Straight
Hell
up. Mind Force, that's fucking team. Scarab, that's fucking team. Restraining Order, that's just fucking Restraining Order. We're all just chilling, bro. That's all. We're just here to have fun, yo. Just play fucking gigs and shit. Fucking, yeah, straight up.
All right, this is pretty much my last question. Just talk about some of your hobbies outside of music.
Oh, I feel like we all can touch on that in like spades. I'll just like start off, like pass it off. I do like, Dom, art is his fucking bread and butter.
Okay.
That's his whole design shit. He's been doing that shit forever. And it's like I feel like everybody owns a shirt that he probably made and they don't even realize it. Like, he's been doing that shit for so long. Or yeah, exactly.
For different bands and whatnot.
Yeah, like he did the fucking Arizona, the Vane cover. He did the Jesus Piece,
Damn.
Only Self shit. Like, he did. Huh? Oh, yeah, he's done a lot of Vane. Like I said, he's done so much shit that I feel like people don't even realize is his shit. Like, he's done a lot of shit. That's his shit.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
Yeah, like that's been his whole thing. And I also do like art shit. I dabble in other stuff. Like I said, I made like the promo video that we did. I edited like our music video together and shit like that. And I also do I was doing rap shit in the fucking pandemic. I haven't since then, just because this band and like my other bands, we all got busy. So
What would you compare that rap style to? Like, what kind of artists and whatnot?
I mean, I was very much inspired by like not even late, but like 90s, like New York, like the darker boom bap shit, like Mobb Deep and like fucking Nas and Cormega and like that whole fucking ilk and era and shit like that. And I do a lot of that, but I also like I said, we're all movie heads. I love like comic books and shit like that. We all love sneakers and shit, and yeah, we do like there's a whole lot of that shit. And I was this man could touch on that even more. I feel like.
I also do art and like graphic design shit too. maybe not as much as Dom has done over the years, but I'm still like dipping my feet into like that kind of like realm, just doing more shit for bands.
Okay.
Aside from that, I mean, I play in several other like different bands. So I'm always like touring around or like playing like locally and stuff. What else? I work out regularly. I watch a lot of like anime. I read a lot of manga.
Do you go out to a gym or do you work out at home?
I go out to like Planet Fitness and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, shout out Planet Fitness. That shit comes in handy on tour. Just like traveling
Yeah,
around,
yeah.
like you need someone to like shower or just like stay overnight. Just Planet Fitness, it's always there.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I don't really do art or anything like that. So I don't really have anything interesting to add there. But I'm real into video games. I'm real into anime and manga. I pretty much just spend my free time doing all that stuff. I also like write for a living. I like
Okay.
write and edit stuff. So
What kind of
sometimes
stuff?
What's that?
What kind of stuff you writing?
I mostly just do like ads, like
Okay.
advertising and
I
stuff like that.
gotcha.
I'm not really like a creative writing kind of person. I've tried it before, but I'm just not good at it. But yeah, I do that. Obviously, music. I play in a couple other bands. But yeah, mainly like video games, anime and manga, and I also collect like CDs and records. I mean, all of us do that.
I forgot about it.
Straight up, like anytime we go like on tour or do like a weekend run, we're always guaranteed to hit coffee shop, somewhere to get food, and a record store. And I feel like most of my money on tour goes to buying CDs. I just can't help myself.
I assume that it's like important for y'all to keep physical shit alive with the age of
Absolutely.
digital.
Absolutely. I feel like all of us grew up on the cusp of that being phased out. So like, you know, when I was a kid, like, and I would get a CD, I would just sit there and like look at the art and
Yeah.
like just read the lyrics over and over. And like, that was always how I found new bands too, is I would look, see what shirts the bands were wearing, see who they thanked in like the thank you list. So I'm like, I think we're all like very down with physical media and making sure that all of our physical media looks dope, because that kind of packaging and aesthetic is all very important to us as a band and just like as fans of other bands. Like, I mean, Dom pulls so much inspiration from just scans of lyric booklets and stuff like that. So yeah, posters, shirts, all that stuff.
That's his shit.
Yeah. Dom has a million fucking shirts. Probably has millions of dollars worth of shirts. He has every shirt ever made. If there's any shirt you've ever wanted, he probably has it or has owned it at some point. That's his shit. But as for me, yeah, that's it.
Hell yeah.
For me, it's pretty straightforward. It's mostly music. I spend most of my time, pretty much all of my free time, just obsessing over songs that I've written and like what changes need to be made. Like, all of my mental bandwidth is focused on making a song better that like we've written, to the point where it's like having like a mental breakdown almost. But outside of music, I mean, I'm in 4 bands, so that's my main focus, but I'm huge into, I don't like collect or do art or anything like that, but I'm huge into like Japanese Criterion films,
Okay.
like the Akira Kurosawa, Kobayashi, like all that stuff, like Seven Samurai, Harakiri, Throne of Blood. Anything with Mifune in it is like, I've seen it multiple times. I'm like obsessed with that era of just filmmaking and that era that it's like depicting. It's like a huge hobby of mine. It's just like watching these films and analyzing like this era in this particular part of the world. I think we're all pretty fascinated with everything Japanese. Also, we all like anime. We all have an appreciation for like the culture and everything.
Nice.
So like movies, music, that's pretty much it for me.
All right. That's pretty much it. Just quickly tell the people like what announcements and whatnot you got for all your different bands and whatnot, and we'll wrap it up.
We are going into the studio in a few weeks to do a new EP, so that's cool. That'll hopefully be out next year on days, of course. That's really the only big thing we have coming up, I feel like.
Well, I was gonna say we're recording at the beginning of the month with Andy Nelson at Bricktop, who's done fucking literally they've worked with him on Foreign Hand shit. I've worked with him for the Gridiron record and shit. He's done. He did Isolation by Harm's Way, so that's fucking that's what I'm saying. But yeah, we're doing that. Yeah, I was gonna say, and then these two, they got Foreign Hand shit coming up. Yeah.
Yep. Me and Jack, with Foreign Hands, we're gonna play West Virginia and New Jersey in September. We got Furnace Fest also at the end of September as well. And then we just announced a tour with Dying Wish for their record release tour.
Hell yeah.
It'll be a full U.S. tour, so we'll be all over towards like the beginning of November and December. So if you check out our page and you see a date, come hang out, say what's up.
We got a record too.
Oh yeah, we just recorded record 2. We don't know what's gonna be out yet, but yeah, it will be out for sure at some point.
All right.
I'll make it quick, sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
But yeah, we're going into the studio in 2 weeks. Sure. That's coming up. I play drums in Scarab also. We're going to be recording hopefully in October another 4-song 7-inch. That'll hopefully be out. Don't hold me to that, but it'll hopefully be out in time for FYA because we're playing the first day of FYA.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to Bob, legend. He and I play, like he said, in an alt-rock band called Capsule 9. We have 3 new songs. We're going to work on those in the coming months, try to finalize them. Maybe that'll come out at some point soon. But other than that, I think that's pretty much it.
Cool.
Just real quick. Yeah, so like I said, we're recording. We're playing the second year of the Days Triple B Streets of Hate showcase. We're playing October 1st, if I'm not mistaken. That day has, I can see the flyer in my head. It's like Madball, Twitching Tongues, Killing, Blood Runs Cold. Yeah, they're opening. That's fucking Long Island shit. I want to say not Fury of 5. The fuck am I thinking of? Yeah, Confusion's playing the first day. Terror. Yeah, I was gonna say it's Yep, that's it. There, yeah, them. We're doing that in October. We have a couple more things that we're working on, but they're not announced just yet. Yeah, we're playing Wild West Fest in Salt Lake City in October with Tsunami, Dead Heat, Dare, a few other bands heading back out west. And then as far as Gridiron shit goes, we don't really have a whole lot going on. Our other guitarist, Will, also plays a Never Ending Game, so he's kind of busy doing that shit. We were playing the Codes World thing in Pittsburgh at the end of September with the Code Orange, us, Wrist Meat Razor, which is a band that he's in, Pain Clinic, fucking E-Town, yep. I was at 200 Stab Wounds, a couple other bands. And then we're going to be spending the rest of the year, putting together a new record, since we're also playing the FYA this year, we're playing FYA again with Scarab. So, yeah. And I think that covers, I think we got everything covered. I think we're good.
Yeah.
I think that's the end of it. Yeah, I think that's everything.
I want to thank y'all for doing this.
Thank you for letting us do this shit, man.
Absolutely.